morning, it's Christine Crutcher from Create with Christine. Thanks for tuning in for Celebration Sunday episode number 5. So we are at January 31st, so 1 month of celebration under our belt already, which is kind of crazy. I feel like we just said Happy New Year, and here we are, January 31st already. So I'm using Darling Donkeys today, and I have a cute little Valentine card. I'm going to show you in 2 different colors. I'm going to do Bermuda Bay for my stamping today, but here's the card, just sweet and simple. And it is kind of a real easy fun fold card, so I have it glued on one side, so it opens a little bit different than an average card, so a little bit different for you today. So I'm using also the Ombre, so I did one in Rococo Rose, so more of a girl Valentine, and then a boy Valentine maybe. So let's look at the Ombre paper really quick. So this is 6x6. It's in the Celebration catalog, page 7, so you get it free with a $50 order. And I forgot to put up my volume, so I hope my volume is okay. Well, we'll worry about that once I get somebody on here watching me. The Ombre is on page 7 of Celebration, and it's 4 colors: Bermuda Bay, Blackberry Bliss, Granny Apple Green, and Rococo Rose. So the Bermuda and the Rococo are on the same side, and then the Blackberry and the Granny Apple Green are on the reverse side of each other. So, and then you kind of get an ombre and a circles kind of patterns. So super fun. If you have the catalog in front of you, let's see, here's the free with a $50 purchase of the, oh my gosh, Darling Donkeys. And then the Ombre on page 7 is the paper, so you can kind of see it. And Valentine's is coming quick, so I wanted to do this project today, thinking that maybe some of you earned these already this month, so you will already have them in your stash. Since it's a little bit last minute, if you wanted to shop, if I inspire you with this card today and you want to shop today, I would expedite your order so you can get it and get the Valentines out. I mean, I know I'm planning to mail all mine tomorrow because the mail has still been getting caught up from the holidays. Okay, I'm going to point my camera down and we will go ahead and get stamping. I hope you're having a good week. And it's been pretty good here. It's been cold, so it's like the coldest it's been in 2 years, I believe, in the Boston area. So I've been inside stamping and crafting a lot. So again, here are the cards, one in Rococo Rose and one in Bermuda Bay. We're gonna stamp the Bermuda Bay today. So I have all the pieces cut out, and of course I did not grab my dies that I wanted to show you, but that's okay. We can go over it together, and I'm using Darling Donkeys stamp set for Celebration that you can earn with any $50 purchase. So let's get this stuff out of the way. And this is not a difficult card, it's just a bunch of steps, and there's a few steps that are a little bit tricky, so you want to pay attention to what you're doing and not screw up, and hopefully I won't screw up live here on the video. So I'm going to do my stamping first, and honestly I don't need the scrap paper for the small heart, but I'm using the Be Mine stitched dies, and I cut them out with my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I have larger ones and smaller ones. So this is going to be a little bit hard to see white on white, but this is one die and it cuts out the inside and does the pretty scalloped border. So you have to cut it out with the basic white and with the Bermuda Bay. So this is a 2.5 by 2.5 piece. And then there's the largest die in the Be Mine stitched. And I did the same thing, I just reversed it. I did the white for the largest so I could stamp the donkey on it. And then I did the Bermuda outside. And this is, again, is one die, but obviously you need to run it through twice to get the two opposite colors. So this is a 4x4 Bermuda and a 4x4 basic white. So let's do the little sentiment first. So I just stuck with the Darling Donkeys, and honestly it just says, "Hey there, friend." So it does not have to be a Valentine card that you send to somebody in the next couple weeks for Valentine's. This can be an everyday card. And I'm just gonna do, I'm inking up in Memento. I'm just doing one ink pad to keep it simple. So if you wanted to do it Valentine's and you have Valentine stamps in your stash, go ahead and stamp Be Mine or Happy Valentine's Day. So that looks good. And now, because I want my donkey on my heart, I am just going to bring over my heart that I punched out. I'm going to get this out of the way so I don't get ink everywhere. And I want scrap paper because his feet, it's a little bit of a tight fit. So normally I would stamp first and cut out second. And on one of mine, I think the Rococo, let me show you. I kind of cut off a little bit. Oops, I just bumped the camera, sorry. I cut off a little bit of his like hoofs or feet. So that's why I just have scrap paper to here for my background. And then I'm going to color and stamp and blend. So the scrap paper kind of serves as two purposes. So because he's kind of a larger image, I'm going to lay him down and put the ink on top of him this way. And this is a pretty juicy ink pad. I recently added some ink to it. So I think I'm good. And I'm going to try to line up kind of where his head and his ears are in the middle of the heart, and hope I kind of get his feet on too. And hope I get this pretty good because I did not cut out an extra piece. Okay, not bad. Again, I cut off one of the little hoofs, but it's totally fine. I am going to roll with it and get my Memento and my stamps out of the way. So I decided to color my donkey kind of brown. You could also do gray. So I'm going to bring over some Stampin' Blends. And this is why I have some scrap paper, because they bleed through. So I don't want to stamp right on my table. So I'm going to use Crumb Cake Light and Dark. I'm going to use Old Olive Light, I believe it is. Light, yes. And then Light Real Red. You probably could also use Light Cherry Cobbler if you have it. I also have my color lifter. So if you invest in our Stampin' Blends, it's very important to invest in something called the color lifter. And if you screw up, and actually I screwed up on my Bermuda Bay when I was stamping him yesterday, and you can't even tell that I lifted. I had a couple little speckles of crumb cake. And I just, actually you can maybe see that there's a little tiny bit there, but it's not enough that I was like, I'm throwing this card away. I covered up this heart with some of the little issues, but I was able to kind of blend some of the speckles away. I hope that makes sense. So continuing on, I might not need the color lifter, but I like to have it just in case. And I'm going to start with my light, and I'm going to kind of section him. So I'm going to maybe do, oh, and I got ink on my fingernail. That's great. His head, then his body, then his feet. So I'm just going to add on some light color with my light crumb cake. And then what I want to do is add a few little highlights with the dark, and then I'm going to blend them out. Really, my goal is that I don't want to see a line. Don't forget, like underneath his mouth, like jaw. So I'm just adding light. And while it's still wet, I want to come in with some dark and maybe just add like a little bit to the ears and maybe a little bit to like this side of his face. Okay, I just added a little bit of highlights. And then I'm going to come back with my light and I'm going to blend those dark lines out. So I find this to be super therapeutic, but it does take a while, but it's worth it. So I'm just gonna kind of pull the dark across, and I can kind of come back down here and go over. Okay, so maybe like once more, I'm kind of going in circles, pulling the dark towards the light. Okay, that looks great. So now I'm going to move on to, oh, this is light, so I can move on. The thing you want to do is try to not screw up your light and your dark. So I'm going to add light to his body. Let's do body quick. And be careful not to get the stem of the rose with the crumb cake. Actually, I wonder if I'd be able to just go over it with the olive. But, okay, so I got his body, some light on there. And there's a little artist line of a little kind of hair and scruff. And I'm just going to kind of go by that and add a little bit of dark. And blend out the dark. I may have got a little bit of the stem by accident. Okay, so that looks great. And then I'm just gonna do the legs and the tail. I keep checking to make sure I'm using the light. That's the one hardest part. I'm just gonna do the legs really quick. You could add some accent to the legs. I don't think I did. But I think you get the idea, so you can keep kind of going over. But that looks great. I'm gonna stop with my crumb cake, and then I'm just gonna do the red and the green. So I'm gonna use the skinny side. There's a line, a thicker line and a thinner line. So I'm gonna use the skinny side for, yeah, I got a little brown on my stem here. And come down and add a little bit of green to the leaf. Try not to get his teeth unless he ate broccoli for dinner. And, oops, I went outside the lines, but it's still fine. And then I have, again, I'm going to use the skinny side for my red rose. This stamp set just begs to be colored in like this. So you could use Stampin' Blends, markers, watercolor pencils, Wink Costello watercoloring. There are so many possibilities. Okay, I'm going to get my scrap paper out of there. And now all I have to do is adhere my pieces. So let's talk about all the pieces. I have the Oso Ombre piece of designer series paper, and it's 3.5 by 4 3/4. And again, it's Rococo Rose on one side and Bermuda on the other side. So when I cut it so the ombre was kind of going dark to light. So I want this to be the top of my card and this to be the bottom. I have a piece of basic white that's 3 3/4 by 5. So we're just going to add these two layers together. And I'll just use a little bit of liquid glue for this step. And then I want to start adding my hearts. So I did the larger one first. So I actually put this scallop down and then put the inside. And then I put the scallop over here and put the inside like that. You could do it whatever makes you happy. So I'm just going to put the scallop down first because then the inside will lay in beautifully. So I'm just going to use a tiny bit of liquid glue around the edge here. I think you've probably heard me say when I first learned to use liquid glue, it was like scratch it on. So really a little bit goes a long way. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to put this towards my left side. And then once I lay the scallop down, like I said, the inside will lay on perfectly because it's the same. And I'll just use liquid glue. Normally when it's white, I use seal, and I do have seal here for, I might use it. Okay. Try not to shake the table. Okay, so again, same thing. I'm gonna put my scallop white on. And you can put it wherever you want on this side. One of them, it goes on the Rococo. First one I did, it went kind of more towards the bottom. And then this other one, I had a boo-boo that I needed to kind of fix. So I put it more to the top. So, okay, it's going there. So, perfect. And then the inside. And like I said, you could stamp this. Stamp any sentiment you want in your stash on here. Okay, so that's the real base of the card. And let me show you the fun fold part, because this is a little bit tricky. I do have another piece of Whisper White, basic white. You'll hear me say Whisper White. It's going to take me a while to get used to saying basic white. I'm just going to put adhesive on two sides with my seal, and this is going to be for the inside of the card. So this is going to be my inside. I'm just going to put this on so I don't forget. Okay, so this is a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of Bermuda Bay, and I scored it at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. So it would be a standard card, but then I scored it in half, I guess, at the 2 3/4, which is half of 5 1/2. And then I'm going to fold this back. Okay, you see where I'm going here is that this is going to go here, but I only want adhesive on my left side. So you can do it one of two ways. You could just put adhesive here, and maybe I'll just do it that way so I don't screw it up. So you put, I'm using seal, and then you're just gonna put this, and you could actually use the white on the inside as a guide. So there we go. So it ends up being a little bit of a fun fold. You could put some cardstock in here if you wanted to write an additional little message. I did not measure it, but I was thinking, looking at it quickly, that a gift card might fit there if you wanted to glue dot a gift card on this side, and then you still have this to write your message. So, and the other thing is if you embellished the front, oh, I forgot about my embellishments. So let me grab those. I'm using the Elegant Faceted Gems. I've been using these a bunch lately, and that's because there's clear and kind of like the white. And for this one, I think I'm just going to take these two little white. I like the smaller ones for cards. So I'm just going to grab my Take Your Pick tool and grab these and put them on. Whoops, I just lost one already. So up in the corner. I can't tell. I think it's upside down. So I'll just fix it right side. There we go. So I think in my original, I used the clear. Yeah. So the white ones look just as cute. Just something to give it a little bit of sparkle. If you have them, the new opal rounds would be cute, but I just used, what did I use on a card recently that I just made yesterday? I used the Artistry Blooms sequins just to give it a little bit of pizzazz. And I knew I was going to say something else, and I've forgotten what else I was going to say about this card. Oh, I remember now. If you were to embellish the front a whole lot and you wanted to protect it when you mailed it to your Valentine or a friend, you can actually fold the inside or the outside back in and then close it up and mail it like this in an envelope. It will fit in perfectly. And then when they open it, they can just fold it back out and open it to read your message. So that is my card. If you did not see it, oh, actually I showed it in the beginning, but here's the Rococo Rose version. And that is my project for today. So I hope you liked this and I inspired you to check out the Darling Donkeys stamp set from Sale-A-Bration and the Also Ombre Designer Series paper. Sale-A-Bration is one more month, so it's ending on February 28th, 2021. And today is the last day to use my January host code, so that is HZCFTHBR, and I'll put the link in the description below of where to shop for that host code. I'll have a new host code tomorrow for February. And let me just bring the camera up and I'll do the last announcement while I'm up here looking at my face. So I hope I inspired you to go check out Sale-A-Bration. Again, it's ending in 1 month on February 28th. And if you're not on my mailing list, please check out the link below. I'll put it in the description to join my mailing list. Or you can subscribe to my mailing list and check out all my creative projects at christinestamps.blogspot.com. So that's it for today. We're gearing up for another snowstorm tomorrow into Tuesday of almost a foot of snow. So I'll be crafting a bunch, and I'll have a project on my blog at christinestamps.blogspot.com on Tuesday for Casing Tuesday. And make sure to check it out. It's super stinking cute. I already made it yesterday, so trying to plan ahead a little bit here. So get those Valentines out in the mail and have a wonderful week. See you next week.